Hey everybody, John Henning here with woodworkingpodcast.com. You can listen into our other episodes at woodworkingpodcast.com. Thank you so much for listening in today. I appreciate it. Today we're going to talk about building your list. So I think one way that a lot of folks don't really maximize their relationships in woodworking is by not consistently growing their list. Now there's a couple different ways. When I say list, it's really not a piece of paper with names on it or anything like that. Of course, you could do that. Put someone's name and phone number and, call, regularly and chat with them. Like that wouldn't make any sense in this kind of business, right? Not in today's age, with technology. But there's a couple different ways. So let's define what list means. List means it's a bunch of information that lets you contact your potential clients. Now that could be an email list. It could be a phone texting list. It could be a Facebook page where you've grown your followers. Could be, Instagram where you've got a separate set of followers there, or TikTok, another set of followers there. Now I happen to use Facebook. It works well for what I do. That's where I find a lot of my customers, get a lot of referrals there. And I also have an email list. Now, how do you capture a client's email? Okay. And this is a big one. Like getting followers, we'll talk about that here as well in a minute. But growing that email list, because I think that email is still extremely viable. It's something that usually stays with the client, and they keep their email addresses for a really long time. It's inexpensive, as far as a cost perspective goes to send out an email. You can get into, I'm going to talk with you specifically about a way you can have it automatically set up to go into a list that you can then email out for a very, very minimal fee. As a matter of fact, if you click on the link below, I'll make sure to include the link below this podcast for the service I'm going to mention. I'm not sponsored by this company. I've just used them for 15 years. I've used this company for list building, and it works very well. I think it's like $20 a month. It's very affordable, and it's got a lot of great features. And so, but how do you capture their email? Well, you've got to provide value, right? One way to do it is just say, hey, from time to time, I run special deals. Would it be okay if I sent you an email? When you meet with that client, they come to your home or you meet them to pick up their item. You capture their email address there manually, and you're good to go. Some of them will say yes, other ones will say no. It's okay, no big deal. Okay, that's one way to do it. But if you provide them with some value, you're more likely to capture their email address. And what I mean by value is give them something. It doesn't have to be something tangible. You sell cutting boards, you don't have to give them the knife, right? I'm not talking about that type of give. I'm talking about something that's more intangible, something that's information related. For example, if you sell cutting boards, you might have a way for them to download a customer care list. Things you can do to make your cutting board last longer. How to care for your cutting board. Mrs. Jones, thank you so much for buying a cutting board. I'd like to, extend a courtesy to you. A lot of folks will have a lot of follow-up questions. The best way to reach me is via email. And what I've done is I've set up a page where you can download a little guide on how to care for your cutting board. So at any time you want to reference back to it, you can download that guide. You can send me an email. All you have to do is go to this domain name, abccuttingboards123.com. Mrs. Jones goes to that domain name. You have a web form on there. She enters her email address, and she gets an autoresponder with the guide in it. You've now captured their email address. Now, the company I use is a company called AWeber, and there's a link down below for a promo for you to get a special deal there. Like I said, I'm not sponsored by them. I think I get like $1 when someone signs up, so whatever. It's an affiliate link down there. But I use this company. I've used them for over 15 years, and it works very well. I highly recommend it. Super simple to set up and easy to use. What you do is you go through the steps. I think there's 3 steps to set up a web form. It's all right on the screen. There's no coding required. And on the 3rd step, when you save your web form, You copy and paste it into your website, and boom, you're done. Now, if you're not a tech-savvy person, that's okay. They've got training, they've got support, and you can go to YouTube and type in, how to set up an Aweber form, and there's 100 videos on there how to do it step by step. Should take you 30 minutes to an hour, complete setup from sign up until you're ready to go. And it's set it and forget it. Okay? Once you have to create your guide, we're not going to talk about creating your guide today. The actual creative, you've got to provide that value. Maybe it's that, maybe it's email support, whatever it is that you're going to provide to them. You can auto reply in there. You can set it to automatically reply, so when Mrs. Jones enters her email address and her first name and clicks submit, she gets an auto reply a few minutes later, and it has the download in there for your PDF file, your guide on how to care for your cutting board. Right? That's just a generic example. Of course, there's many different things you could do. You could have community information. You could have a monthly specials newsletter you send out to all your woodworking customers. There's so many things you can do. That's just 3 right off the top of my head, right? Here's a good one. If you sell cutting boards, right, which I don't sell a lot of cutting boards, but if you do, maybe it's a recipe, a monthly recipe. I mean, there's a bazillion recipes that folks give away, and they allow you to give them away, right, in Google, and you can provide a monthly newsletter with 2 or 3 recipes in it. I mean, if you're buying a cutting board, someone's probably cooking something. Chances are, you can find a recipe a month to send out to your list. So it's all about staying in front of them so that when you do have something to sell, you can also email them that item as well. Hey, I've got this new end grain cutting board. I've got this new style planter. I've got this new table that I'm making now, or new project that I'm working on. Who's interested, right? It's not just selling them something, it's providing value. And that's probably one of the toughest things, is figure out how do you consistently provide value to your customers so you're not just emailing them something to buy. That's not valuable to them, that's valuable to you. Okay? So figure out something you can provide to your customers or potential customers that's valuable to them. Guides, information, how-tos, recipes, all those different types of things. Try and gear it towards your niche in your business, in your woodworking business. So, but growing that list can be as simple as capturing a single email at a time. You can use social media, right? You can post pictures. If you don't have let's walk through social media. I'm going to use Facebook as an example. I've got a Facebook profile. A lot of folks will say, you got a Facebook page? Yep, sure do. No, you actually have a Facebook profile. That is your personal profile on Facebook. Then you can also set up a Facebook page for your woodworking business. Now, all of the pages on Facebook are called pages, but there is a Facebook page that's assigned to your woodworking business. And you go in there and you look in the settings, and it says create, and there's like 6 different things you can create. One of them is create a page. You should have a page created for your woodworking business and name it what your woodworking business is. When you get likes and follows on that page, people are more likely to see your items when you post them on your page. Your friends see what's on your profile. So if your friends are like my friends, I've got 600 Facebook friends, and they're all over the country because most of them are from high school and people from when I was in the military and stuff like that. They're all over the world. They're typically not my clients. My clients are on my Facebook page because that's local for me, and that's where I post my products. Every time I make something, whether it's a custom item for a customer or a standard item that I'm making to sell, I'll post it on there and say, another one completed, here's another one, this one's done, another custom order for a customer, etc. Right? And try and show pictures of the customer picking it up, and get real visual on it, because that's a lot of what they're looking at on Facebook and Instagram, right? So Facebook page, okay, right? Not Facebook profile. You have to have a profile to have a page, and your page is supposed to be geared towards business or passion or group or community or something like that, okay? In addition to that, and there's 4 things on Facebook that you'll look at, and it gets very confusing. In addition to pages, Facebook page, There's also a Facebook group. Now, Facebook group is kind of like something that's a little more interested. So if someone likes your Facebook page, they're your friend, that's your profile. They then like your Facebook page, they're more likely to see stuff. Then if you invite them to join your Woodworking VIP group, that's maybe where they get early access or first crack at something, or they can order custom items or whatever it is. They can just chit chat about the area, whatever. Create a Facebook group, and it's a VIP where they have to be invited or they have to apply and then accept. You have to accept them. Okay? Woodworking Podcast has a Facebook group. Go look at Woodworking Podcast Facebook group and you'll probably see it out there. Okay? You can join that, right? It's just a place where I post all the podcasts and we chit chat around woodworking, that type of stuff. But you have to apply and then I have to accept you in there. But you're more likely than to see my stuff than a page, and more likely on the page to see my stuff than if you were just my friend. And then the fourth one is the one that most people get confused with, is the marketplace profile. So you can have a Facebook profile, that's where your friends are your friends, and you can have none of the other items, none of the other types that I mentioned, and you can have, if you sell on Marketplace, whether you realize it or not, Facebook automatically creates, as soon as you list your first item, a Marketplace profile for you. That is where folks can leave feedback about your transactions with them. So your Facebook Marketplace profile is where all of your listings are. If you have 50 different items listed for sale on Marketplace, then they'll all show on your Marketplace profile. That's also where they leave feedback, right? And so those are the 4 different ways and people can follow you on Marketplace. They don't have to be your friend, they don't have to be on your page, and they don't have to be in your group. People can just follow your Marketplace profile. And where those follows come from is typically from your listings. If you create good listings on Marketplace, you'll get followers. Do you ever notice when you go into your Marketplace where you're going to create a listing and you scroll down and it says, listings you can renew, listings you can delete and relist, that kind of thing, and it says your rating is there. Like I've got a 4.9 rating with 64 reviews. And then right there, I think it's to the right of the reviews, it says 15 new followers in the last 7 days. Those are people following your Marketplace profile. When you post a new item for sale in Marketplace, they're notified that you've done that. So if you have several hundred on your list, that's what the whole topic here is. If you have hundreds of people following you on Facebook Marketplace and then you don't list items for sale in Marketplace anymore, you just wasted that list. So there's a lot of different ways you can grow a list. You can have friends on Facebook. You can have a page and they can like and follow your page. You can have VIP members in a Facebook group. You can have followers on your Marketplace profile. But if you're not actively promoting those and actively then using those things, you've just built a list you're not going to use. If you grow an email list and don't send something out regularly, just having the list doesn't actually really do anything. Implementing the list, having a plan on what you're sending out and how often are you going to post and what days. I've noticed on Facebook that Sundays for me are a terrible day to post. For whatever reason, I don't get a ton of response, likes, follows, loves, whatever they are, if I post on Sundays. Now, Fridays nights and Saturday, I get bombarded. Okay, I'll wake up, Saturday morning from Friday afternoon into Friday night into Saturday, and I'll have 36 messages in there from Marketplace. Sundays, not so much. Maybe it's my area, maybe it's what I'm selling, maybe it's the type of people that see my ads. I don't know, it doesn't matter. I've just noticed that on Sundays, I don't see a ton of activity. A few, right? But comparatively, I'm not getting 30 or 40 messages on Sunday. I'll get 3 or 4. The other days of the week, I get double digits messages. Okay, Most messages I've ever received in one day is 117 messages from Marketplace in one day, right? It's crazy. Normally I'll get 25 to 50 in a day messages saying, is this available? Is this available? And watch, make sure you listen into my podcast about, is this available? I'm telling you, you are missing out if you're not taking advantage of that. Okay? So is this available is a whole separate episode on the podcast. But back to list building. When you're building that list, it's important to have a plan to implement the use of the list. Building it doesn't do anything except for make you feel good. If you're actually looking to earn money from your woodworking business, you want to capitalize on that list that you've built. Whether it's Facebook friends, likes on your page, VIP members in your group, your marketplace profile, just be specific and intentional about it. If it's an email, set a reminder on your own calendar for every month to send out that email. Use Alexa to remind you. Like, figure out how are you best reminded to do something every month. Because I'll tell you, if you don't set a reminder to consistently do it every month, you're probably not going to do it every month. And we're talking about 12 times a year here, folks. Okay? If you don't set a reminder, I would probably guess that you will send it out maybe 2/3 of the time. So you'll end up 9 times a year instead of 12 times a year sending out a message. That's all we're talking about, right? So set a reminder. It's worth it. You can do a repeat reminder on your calendar, on your phone, to come up on the 5th of every month to say, send out the email newsletter to the woodworking list or whatever it is that you're doing, okay? If it's post something on Facebook. Now, Facebook, I want to post in my page several times a week. You know, visual pictures, short little video clips, that kind of thing. I want that engagement, keep them engaged. My marketplace, I list marketplace items every day. Every day I list a couple of marketplace items for sale. In the spring, right now in my area, there's about 25 people that sell the same exact planter that I sell, and they sell it for less than I do. I'm the highest priced in my market. And I consistently hear customers say when they pick up their planters, geez, you own this market. I can't believe how many ads you have for planters in your market. And you'll want to listen to the podcast that I created on how to sell more on Marketplace. Because I'm telling you, if you're posting one ad with one picture and a description, and in the description it says, if this ad is up, it's available, I won't reply to is it available messages, you're nuts. Okay? Little tidbit. You want them to message you and ask if it's available. If you're not prompting them to do that, you're missing out on what are called leads. Leads convert into sales. If you tell someone not to contact you, like, what kind of sales strategy is that? Now, yes, is it a pain? Absolutely, right? But there's a way you can use that to grow your list at a minimum, okay? Not everybody is interested today, but they want to know if the product's interested. They want to know if you're real. They think you're a scam, actually, is what a lot of it is. They want to see if you're real and you reply. And by the way, the faster you reply, the higher your marketplace items are shown in their search results. A little tidbit for you. But anyway, using Facebook to grow your list, right? I post on Marketplace daily. I post in my VIP group once every 2 weeks. And then I post on my page once or twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, depending how busy I am. My profile, my Facebook profile, I actually can't even remember the last time that I posted something that was relevant, because the only people that would see that are my friends on Facebook. You know, and I don't really get into posting, politics, religion, things like that on Facebook, because I use it for my business. You know, my personal beliefs are my personal beliefs, but I use it for my woodworking business, and I don't want to, step on any toes, kind of keep neutral ground on everything, and, I just don't get into that on Facebook anyway. But don't just grow it and then not use it. Make sure you have that plan, right? Like, figure out how are you going to send it out? How are you going to remind yourself to send it out? Right on my calendar, I have every other day for posting on my page, every other 14 days for posting in my VIP group, and every month for my newsletter, I get all those reminders that pop up, and every day for Marketplace. So all those reminders pop up just as if I was like working and had a work appointment to go onto a Zoom. I do that on my calendar for my woodworking business. And it pops up. I know that I have to do it. Do I follow it religiously? No. I miss posts. I'm busy. I'm in the shop and don't do it when it pops up. That's fine. Right? As long as I set a reminder, I'll set a timer. I use the timer function on my phone to remind myself that I need to go do it in an hour or two. Okay? Because I want to be consistent, and that's the key with these types of list building activities. Be consistent, and you will grow your list. I personally love the email list. I like social media, don't get me wrong, because it's visual and it's fairly simple to use, and if you use it right, you can grow big followings, that type of thing. But quality over quantity, too, when you're growing this list. This isn't about the number of people that you have on the list. This is about the quality of the people you have on the list. That's a big one. And then that email list goes with me, right? Whatever platform I'm on doesn't matter if I have their email. And folks read their emails. I sell a lot via email, and we'll do a podcast on that, on how I do that. But I sell a lot of stuff via email to wannabe customers and previous customers. I get referrals via email all the time. I do have a separate phone number that's a text-only number. There's a ton of those services out there. For $3 a month, you can get a text-only phone number and put an app on your phone. And I just have folks text me. There's no voicemail. They can't call and talk to me. They just text me on that number. I get a ton of referrals that way. That's another way to grow a list. There are texting services out there. You've got to go through a bit of setup. It's quick and simple, but it takes a few hours to go through that setup process, because you have to register to be able to send out texts in group texts now, as of November of 23, I think it is. So it's simple. You just follow the steps, register. That way, there's less spam out there is the whole reason they did it. And look, I'm good with it, because I get way less text spam than I used to before that law went into effect last year. But anyway, texting is a great way, especially if you're having an event in your local. You have a list of 130 people in your market, and you text all of them and say, I'm going to be at XYZ craft show today from 10 to 2. I almost guarantee you a few of them are going to show up. If nothing, because you invited them to a craft show. It doesn't even have to be something just you. Just let them know where you are. Hey, didn't know if you were interested. There's a craft show going on at ABC Church or whatever it is. And, over at the fire hall, there's a community day. If you're from the area, you want to stop by, I'll be in the booth on the side next to the big tent and the giraffes or whatever it is. Okay? So building that text list is huge. I have a text list of about 250, and it's probably the one I grow the least, because it is the hardest one to grow. But I have about 250, and I will tell you that 250 is powerful. I have 250 local people that have given me their phone number. They can text stop to opt out. They get maybe 1 or 2 texts a month about different events that I'm doing, virtual event. I'm going live and showing some products, or I have a new product that I'm testing out if anybody's interested. That's how I rolled out the mailboxes, sold 3 of them. Like, those are $500 items, right? Sold 3 of them from a text. And the text costs like a penny a piece to send. So there's tons of services out there for that. But anyway, growing the list, and then secondarily, more importantly, implementing the use of the list and being consistent with that. So that's the message for today. Click on that link down there for the AWeber link if you'd like to look at a great service for growing an email list, which I highly recommend. I've used them for 15 years. They're not sponsoring me in any way. I do earn a couple of bucks if you sign up. Not a big deal. Don't even worry about it. But I put it on there for you because it's the one that I love, and I've used it for a decade and a half. So anyway, thank you so much for listening in to the Woodworking Podcast. My name's John Henning. I'm your host, and I hope you took something away from today's episode. That's my goal with all of these episodes, is to have you take away at least one nugget of information. Feel free to chat. Send me an email, john@woodworkingpodcast.com. Would love to hear from you. Happy to answer questions, help you out in any way that I can. John@woodworkingpodcast.com. Thank you so much, and have a great day.